I'm Wesley Hunt.
I'm Wrendon Hunt. And you're in the hunt. Greetings, brother.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Greetings and salutations.
Greetings and salutations. First and foremost, we have Thanksgiving coming up this week.
It's good to give thanks.
It is wonderful to give thanks.
Yes.
I'm excited about that. Thanks to the Biden administration, we'll have a $75 turkey, some $95 mac and cheese.
And that's not because there's Gouda cheese in this mac and cheese.
No.
That's Velveeta. It's going to be $75.
But at least we'll have mac and cheese because I'm not willing to pay $175 for cranberry sauce. There will be no cranberry sauce in my house.
You see what Michael Strahan said?
No.
He said, "Man, when I see these prices, if y'all coming over to my house, it's gonna be a potluck. You better bring something if we having Thanksgiving at my house because I can't afford it." Now, when Michael Strahan,
this is the first Thanksgiving since we've been alive where the liquor will be the cheapest thing on the menu.
Right?
People are begging. Normally, nobody wants to bring the liquor for Thanksgiving. It's like, can I bring the whiskey,
hey,
please?
Man, we don't have turkey, but I got some Jack. Who needs turkey?
Let's have a liquid Thanksgiving this year.
Who needs turkey?
What do you guys think about that? I tell you, this journey, and as we've gotten to the holiday season, this journey with the podcast has been an extremely fun one. And one thing that we've always been committed to on this podcast is to talk about things that are relevant and things that are important from a societal perspective. We would not be doing any justice to our listener if we did not discuss Kyle Rittenhouse. Mm-hmm. This is an important topic that's happening right now. It's important that we really espouse upon different perspectives of this topic. And the theme that we're going to be touching on today is there are two sides to every story. Now, we're not talking once again about Thanksgiving this year, because based on inflation, there's probably only going to be one side to most people's Thanksgiving. Because the vast majority of Americans
can't afford two
sides now.
It's like going to Louis. Can't get two sides. It's one side of that Louis.
You're not getting a Louis.
You're getting a Lou.
You're getting the kids. I want the okra and the mac and cheese.
You get the okra.
You get the okra or
the mac and cheese.
You're not getting both. And with Kyle Rittenhouse, perhaps to set the stage a little bit, there are a couple of ideas that I want to discuss. And a lot of these ideas are rooted in the fact that the media has a clear agenda of how they believe the American people should be interpreting things that happen in this country. Okay. I'll never
interpreting legal things that are happening in this country, interpreting the law for the American public, which is inherently not the job of the media. It's the job of the media to just report the news and facts, not interpret intent or criminality. That's not the media's job.
Yeah. So given that there's two sides to every story, and we live in this hyper polarized environment where if you believe one thing, then that means you're in one camp. If you believe another thing, it means you're in the other camp. I will start this conversation by saying I believe that the right verdict was reached. I'll start the conversation there. Okay?
I agree.
Okay. I will also say that once again, there are people that will hear me say that very fact and say, "Oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about, and he blah 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 doesn't believe this." And okay.
Yeah, they're conservative, so that's it. So they're obviously drinking the Kool-Aid. They don't know. Okay. So fine.
Don't hear what I'm not saying. Okay. I also don't think that carrying around an assault rifle in the middle of a protest is a shrewd or intelligent thing to do by any stretch of the imagination. Okay?
Well,
I also.
Well, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I tend to think that under the circumstances, I'm not anti that actually.
Yeah. Okay. And once again, we don't have to agree. This is what people don't realize. We don't have to agree wholeheartedly on everything.
Yeah.
This is part of the whole process of having a dialogue.
So I took my CHL class. Okay. Took my CHL class. Had a great CHL director, a CHL teacher. That's concealed handgun license. Yeah. And this was years ago.
For people in California, that's a concealed handgun.
Sorry. Actually,
for all of our listeners on the West Coast, that's a concealed handgun license.
And across the pond.
You're saying it's like everybody lives in Texas. I took my CHL.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot. And
did you get an MRE after that?
MRE is a meal ready to eat for those.
It's a military thing.
It's a military thing. And took the course with a very good teacher. Took it with a former Navy SEAL sniper as well. We went together. Okay. And the one thing that
so you're telling me you were a better shot?
Not even.
No. That's not what I'm telling
you at all.
Don't hear what I'm not saying.
At all. Like, embarrassingly not even close. And I'm a good shot. Not even close. And the instructor did say this. He said, the point of you having this and the point of you being a gun owner is actually to be a responsible gun owner. He said, and I quote, I'm not in favor people walking into McDonald's, even though you're legally able to do so, with an AR-15 strapped to themselves. Yeah. He said this, and he said, look, you can do it. But the point of this course is to teach you how to be responsible gun owners and use force as a last resort only when necessary, and not just to arbitrarily scare people just because you can. Yeah. So be personally responsible in that regard. He also then went on to say, but depending on the circumstances that are there are times to where it actually may be prudent for that to be the case.
Yeah.
And we'll delve deeper into this case, obviously, but continue what you were saying. But I did kind of want to give that caveat to where even down here in Texas, we actually aren't running around here telling people, please go walk into the mall or please go walk strapped with an AR-15 across, even though you can legally do it.
Yeah.
You could actually do it. How often here in Houston, Texas, do you see somebody?
Never.
You never see it.
Never.
You never see it. Now, I'm here to tell you that if there were rioters that were within a half a mile of my home or a place of work that maybe I owned,
or a place you're trying to defend,
I'm trying to defend, or a place that my family owned, you see my ARs. They're all coming out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tony Montana style. Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah.
They're all coming out.
And here's another thing, too.
But have you ever seen me leave my house walking around with the AR-15?
No, but I seen you walk around with two guns every time you leave your house.
You know what I'm saying, dog? I'm all like, cut up. Stallone. I'm like Stallone. Cut
like
up
a
Rambo.
Julian salad.
Like, cut. Like cut like Rambo.
Yeah, like Rambo 2.
Yeah, not one.
Yeah, Rocky 4.
Rocky 4.
Yeah,
Rambo 2.
Yeah.
All cut up. Got any tips?
Got any tips? Trying to come up. Got any tips? So
go ahead.
And once again, that's an interesting perspective because once again, there are layers of this that the media is not talking about.
Yes.
Me even saying like, hey, I don't think that's prudent to do that. Part of the reason I don't think it's prudent to do it is because this is an individual that doesn't have the necessary training in order to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that's what's, I think, that's missing, that's oftentimes not embedded in a lot of our conversations on gun culture. It goes back to DMX, rest in peace. Guns don't kill people.
People kill people.
Okay? And so...
Hold on. Not only do people kill people, we just watched a man drive his car...
Yeah.
On a Christmas Day parade, killed multiple people and injured 40.
Yeah. And
not a shot was fired.
Yeah.
So those people that want to argue with me about guns and gun control and it's the gun's fault, or Beto O'Rourke running for here in Texas, hell yeah, we're going to take your guns. Are you going to take away cars too?
Yeah.
Are you going to take away knives too? It's never the instrument. It's the person behind the instrument.
Yeah.
That's a consistent argument that we have. It's not the gun.
Yeah.
It's never the gun.
Yeah.
People can use a gun. You could use a car. You could use a knife. You could use a bomb. You could use a pencil.
You could use box cutters.
You could use Whoa. Hello.
Yeah. And that's what, and we've had these conversations before. You, of course, are a more Second Amendment guy than I am. There's no doubt about that.
I'm a real man.
Yeah.
I was in the Army, so you was in the Navy. So it makes sense.
It's a real man.
Whenever we got...
See this? That's muscle.
See that?
I'm muscle, you fat. But the interesting thing,
I get the hungry man. You got the Brussels sprouts.
The hungry man.
You ever heard that?
Yeah,
the TV dinners.
The hungry man.
I got the hungry. I got the lumberjack meal. I got the lumberjack. You got the vegetarian.
So, if you think about just how this all, the idea that there are two sides to every story. Okay, you're talking about a riot that was started because of Jacob Blake, right? So this is, by and large, a Black Lives Matter style riot, civil disturbance. Okay.
Violent.
So, what the media is telling us, and they can't get off this narrative, is that this is a completely racially motivated event.
Yes.
And they're telling us this when a white guy went and shot 3 white guys. Okay? And it's like, listen to what the media is trying to, when a white guy shot 3 white guys at a Black Lives Matters rally.
It's
okay, and we're trying to make this look like this is 100%. We are painting, by we I mean the collective media is painting, when that first happened, they're saying, well, see, this neo-Nazi white supremacist
kid
is going
cross
out
state lines illegally with the
lines
none
at a
of which is
at a Black Lives Matter rally. But then the crazy thing about this
he didn't kill anybody.
He didn't kill any black people at a Black Lives Matters rally. Like, do you not think
either he's a real bad shot or this is not about race?
Do you not think that if his main goal was to go to a place and kill black people, that he could have found black people at a Black Lives Matters rally to shoot? And even when it all started happening, we have an active shooter, we have domestic terrorism, and they're targeting
None of that.
They're targeting black people.
None of that was true.
And CNN and MSNBC,
shame on them.
They never even walked it back.
Shame on them. Oh no, he gonna get paid too, by the way.
Yes.
Kyle Rittenhouse is about to get paid.
Yes.
Big time.
They never walked it back.
Big time.
And then, I mean, you go into our legal system more broadly. And the mandate that these jurors had to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Kyle Rittenhouse was not using self-defense.
Right.
Okay? Yeah. And here's why this whole two sides to...
And real quick, did you watch the video?
I did watch the video.
The listener, watch the video.
You got to watch the video.
Actually, we should have led with that.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, if you haven't watched the video of the sequencing of the sequence of events, then be very careful.
Yeah. And I can give the broad overview. Okay? So you have Joseph Rosenbaum. Okay? Joseph Rosenbaum is bipolar, and he was walking around at this event, did not have access to his medication, and he was yelling at people and setting things on fire. Okay? This is a fact. This is undisputed. This is a fact. Okay? He was yelling, shoot me, N-word, shoot me, N-word, as he was walking around the streets. Okay?
Was it A or ER?
ER.
Just checking. Hey, clarification.
Once again, this is a white guy. That doesn't sound like somebody who is protesting on behalf of Black Lives Matter. Okay? He rushes Kyle Rittenhouse. Okay? Kyle Rittenhouse is signaling to him, hey, friendly, don't do this. He rushes him, tries to take his weapon away. Kyle Rittenhouse shoots him. Now, kills him. There are two sides to every story. At this juncture, there was mass hysteria. There's an active shooter. What's going on? Okay? And at this juncture, this is when Anthony Huber comes over. Now, from Anthony Huber's perspective, it's like there's an active shooter. Everybody's saying, get this guy, grab him. So there's a chance that he thinks he's doing the right thing by trying to get this person who just shot someone, right? Mm-hmm. From Kyle Rittenhouse's perspective, when this guy comes at you and hits you over the head with the skateboard, I could see there's two sides of every story. On Huber's end, I could see him thinking he's doing the right thing by trying to obtain this person. On Rittenhouse's side, I don't know how you can say that that's not self-defense if somebody hits you in the head with a skateboard.
It's particularly where you're not arbitrarily shooting anyone in public.
But once again, it's the two sides. We can act like just one side existed, but that wasn't the case. Yeah. He shoots this man and kills him. Then there's Gage Grosskreutz. Always mispronounce his name. We'll call him Gage. Gage has a gun on him. Mm-hmm. Gage goes to protest all the time because he's a trained medic and he goes to these protests to help people. And he goes to these protests armed. Now, there's a side of you that says, okay, if he's going as a trained medic to help and he's rushing, I'm running into... For the people that are all in his camp, why aren't you considering that maybe Kyle Rittenhouse was doing the same thing? He was going to a protest armed because he was trying to help and trying to defend some property, which you'll tell us about in a second. Like, if you can believe that on one side, how come you can't believe that on the other side? Gage runs at Kyle Rittenhouse. He says that he puts his hands up. There's a nebulous time where we're trying to figure out what happened, where either Kyle Rittenhouse's gun jammed or he didn't shoot at him before he had his hands up. While he had his hands up. That's something that was never really determined, that I was never really clear about. Then Gage points a gun at him and Kyle Rittenhouse shoots him in the shoulder, immobilizes him.
Elbow.
Yeah. Elbow, mobilizes him. So these are three, if you look at it from the perspective of Kyle Rittenhouse, these are three separate incidences.
Including the jury at this point, too, by the way.
And I'm getting there. Yeah. These are three separate incidences where if you, as a rational person, can say, there is no doubt that this guy was not trying to defend himself.
There really isn't.
Then the answer would be that there's a guilty verdict. But at some point, there has to at least be doubt that it's like, well, maybe he was defending himself. If there is any reasonable doubt, then it's an acquittal.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden came out and said,
Wrendon,
the jury system worked. That's the first thing that Joe Biden said.
And then what did he say?
Then he came back, well, not what he said, what he wrote. Then he came back and issued a statement basically saying that he was disappointed.
It's so ridiculous.
In the results.
He's so ridiculous.
And then Kamala Harris did the same thing.
Wrendon, they are so ridiculous.
So
they are so ridiculous. So this goes back to even why there's vaccine hesitancy. Do you remember during the election when Trump was on the stage and they were talking about Operation Warp Speed and getting the vaccine out as fast as possible? And what did Kamala Harris say?
I wouldn't trust the vaccine.
I wouldn't trust the vaccine and I wouldn't take it. So then we fast forward, and then you're the people that are trying to implement a vaccine mandate on people when you said that we shouldn't trust the vaccine. Yeah. So now that you are the president and vice president, and the Constitution that allows us to have our day in court, and the decision was made, first you support it, and then you turn around
and undermine
and then you undermine it. And then you wonder why you're still in the seeds of division in this country. Either you're going to agree with the jury that the Constitution gave us the right to have and make decisions in our country, or you don't, especially when you're in a leadership position.
And then there's a piece of this that really, especially as a black man, has bothered me and has been weighing on me, okay? And it's this idea that if a black man had done the same thing, he would have gone to jail. So then, conversely, we should put the white man in jail because the black man may have gone to jail for doing the same thing.
See, that's illogical. That's illogical.
So and that's where I struggle. Like, so that means.
Hey, can you pull up the name of the black guy that just got off actually for self-defense? I think it was down in Florida, maybe. Can you find it? Yeah.
So that means that, and I think this is troubling, because that means as black Americans, have we really gotten to the point that we would prefer to not see justice for somebody that doesn't look like us?
It's logic, Wrendon.
Because it makes us feel better about the fact that we have been historically oppressed?
Yeah. And it shouldn't, by the way. It should make you feel better. Right? Just because somebody is white doesn't mean that they deserve to go to jail.
Yeah.
Just because.
Like because I'm black, should I feel better about O.J. Simpson?
I hope not.
Getting off?
I really hope not. I mean, he didn't do that though, man. just kidding. Just kidding. I mean, I'm not that far. Whoa.
I'm not gone.
I'm not gone.
I'm in the wind.
What
I'm not gone.
What Dave Chappelle said? Yeah, he did that.
Yeah, he did that. But I mean, and think about that, because that's something that's really prominent to me, Wesley, as I think about even the experience growing up, in the way that I really even viewed the O.J. Simpson trial as it was happening when we were in middle school. Mm-hmm. It was a confusion that I had, because it's the whole idea. So am I supposed to want OJ to get off for doing something wrong just because we had black? The same color skin?
And just because other people in the past that were black were wrongly convicted of things they didn't do, which was a travesty, by the way. But just because they got punished, we are supposed to, I guess, become a sin eater and forgive the sins of those that have done something wrong in the past by letting OJ go by virtue of him just being black?
Or because people who are white who have gotten off for this too, then that puts us on equal footing if OJ gets off for it
too.
I never understood that concept, because quite frankly, I don't think it's moral.
No, Wrendon. And Wrendon, by the way, there were injustices in the past that we are well aware of. We are well aware of.
I'll go further. There are injustices that are still happening today.
Every day, Wrendon.
Okay.
Every day. But that doesn't mean because Kyle Rittenhouse is a white person that he automatically belongs in jail just because of that. And it doesn't mean that if he was, your point is very well taken, if it was a black person, he'd be in jail. So Kyle Rittenhouse should be in jail too. No. We need to figure out the flaws in the system to make sure that they both don't go to jail. That's all.
And not to mention either, here's what really gets me, okay? And this was the Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter and how those conversations got convoluted. And once again, there's two sides to every story. And it's how that message got muted and weaponized. You'll remember I called you after this all happened. And I said, you know what? Man, what would have happened if Kyle Rittenhouse had shot somebody black?
Ooh. Killed. shot and killed somebody black.
Even if he shot somebody black,
Yeah,
Wesley.
that's true.
Well, what would have happened? And here's what I realized that I think is broken in our culture that we all need to be addressing more broadly. If all of our lives do hold the same weight, why would it matter more if he shot a black or a white person?
Yeah.
He valued life, honestly, the same, right? I mean, he shot a person who he felt that he was defending himself against. So if it had been a black person who had attacked him or who had hit him with a skateboard and he shot that person, would we not be equally as upset or feel like we need to be vindicated as a society?
So here are a few things that I remember when this case first started kind of opening up. I wasn't paying attention to it as closely because I was kind of busy, and then finally it was in my face, so finally I delved deeper into it.
Yeah.
And found a few things to be true in the case.
Yeah.
This is why he was acquitted.
Yeah, and this is what you sent me, and this was
I'm not gonna go through all of it.
Profound for me,
but just a few things. I didn't know that Kyle put out a dumpster fire that was being rolled down to a gas station to blow up with people all around. I did not know that the police were told to stand down as businesses were being destroyed. I did not know that Kyle's dad, grandma, and friends all lived in Kenosha, 20 minutes from where he resided with his mom part-time in Illinois. I did not know that someone knocked Kyle Rittenhouse down twice and then attempted to kick him with lethal force in the head, as you've already alluded to. I did not know that Huber hit him in the head 2 times with a skateboard. Did not know that Gage Grosskreutz aimed his gun at Kyle first, and he admitted so on the stand. And I watched that part. That was actually a very critical part of the whole case. Yeah. The guy admitted to it.
Yeah.
The guy with no elbow.
Yeah.
I aimed my gun at him. He admitted to it. Also didn't know that in the state of Wisconsin, it is legal for Kyle to have a gun, even at 17, which is why the gun charge was completely dismissed. Did not know that Kyle did not cross state lines with a gun he wasn't supposed to have. The rightful gun owner, as he was legally permitted to do so. And this one doesn't really hold any weight with me. It's about Rosenbaum. He was a 5-time convicted child rapist, and Huber was a 2-time convicted woman abuser, whatever. But I give you those things because you're right. There is 2 sides to that, because I've also seen the arguments that were counter to this.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're right. There are 2 sides to it. But you talked about reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
If you watch the video and just apply a few of these things that I just read to this case, of course he got acquitted.
There's a reasonable doubt. Yeah.
Of course he got acquitted. And it had nothing to do with race. Nothing. And I think our concern...
And that's your spin, Wesley. If a black person had done the same thing, I would say he or she should be acquitted as well.
I was just getting ready to say that. That's my whole point. To which the kickback is, well, they wouldn't have. Well, then let's work on that. But that doesn't mean we should send him to jail. To prove a point. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So to prove the point, and this is the point that gets me, Wesley, about where we are from a leadership perspective. So we're willing to send somebody to jail for potentially the rest of their lives to prove a point that the justice system works, but we're going to send somebody who's not supposed to go so that we can prove equity in the justice system.
Excellent point.
That doesn't make any sense.
Excellent point.
That is flawed logic.
Completely. It's completely flawed logic.
It's flawed logic. And once again, if somebody who was black was under the same circumstances, I would say the exact same thing. The exact same. Both are true. Both are true. Yes. And I think one of the things you might have been referencing is in Chicago, there was some gang violence, and there was a case that was thrown out in Chicago because gang members who had guns, they all felt that they were threatening each other, and the case was never even heard in Chicago. Self-defense reasons. So, you and I have lived in all walks of life. By the way, absolutely. Yeah. You and I have lived in all walks of life, and you and I kind of share this knack
to never unfriend people unless like a personal attack against us.
Yeah.
So
even if it's a personal attack, kind of want to see where the next one's going to go.
Kind of go. I haven't unfriended Ren. It's been a very long time since I've actually unfriended somebody because, and I should actually some right but I like to not unfriend people because of the past that we've gone through in life. We grew up in a Baptist church, then we went to a elite private school, and then we went to West Point. And then we were in the military. I was in a man's branch. I was in the Army, and you were in the Navy. You figure out what you want to call that. It's a joke. It's personal. It's just a joke, man. It's a joke.
You're racist.
It's Army Navy joke.
There's only one way to explain this.
I must figure
you're racist.
Then went to Ivy League schools for grad school. We're both conservative.
Different tiers of Ivy League schools. I know that's racist.
That's a good one. That's where you're racist. So you look at our lives, and so you could imagine the swaths of people that we've been exposed to from all walks of life, all over the aisle. So I refuse to unfriend people because I like to see just sometimes how people are thinking that are antithetical to the way that I view the world. Yeah. I just kind of like doing that.
Allows you to learn too.
Allows you to learn a whole lot. Somebody that we grew up with, she's extremely liberal, okay? After the case posted that. Very liberal, right? Now, I find this funny. Mm-hmm. And by liberal, I mean very liberal.
Okay.
She posts on Facebook, publicly, like with her name under it.
Okay.
Publicly. What the actual F? I want to get on a plane and contribute to the rightful civil unrest in Wisconsin.
Well, then...
Posted that publicly.
Can I say something?
Say it, Carly.
This is a free country.
Say it, Carly.
I would assume that she's probably a latte liberal.
Of course.
Guess what? You can buy a plane ticket, you can get on a plane, and you can go out and contribute to the civil unrest.
So you know, Wrendon. Let's just be real here.
I'm not stopping you.
You know she ain't that gangster, Wrendon.
Hey,
you know she ain't gully.
I'm not stopping you.
You know it. So it's all. See, everyone gets real brave, and they say all kinds of stuff. By the way, I don't like the fact that you're essentially inciting violence. I like your point even more. Obviously. Oh, okay. If don't talk about it.
I wish I could go. Nothing's stopping you from going.
You can afford to do it.
Go ahead. Go.
Okay.
Go.
But see, when the people get real brave and say all kinds of stuff on social media, it's really easy. Social media to me is the equivalent to liquid courage.
Yeah.
Social media is the equivalent to being drunk.
Yeah.
You say a whole lot of stuff that you don't mean.
Well, and you make yourself feel better about the fact that you care about this, but you don't care enough to go.
You're not going to do anything about it.
You don't care enough to go.
You're not actually going to do anything about it.
You've heard me say this a million times. It's people who want to contribute to all these schools that are going to help black or brown people. You know what would be a better contribution? Send your kids to those schools and then be a parent at that school.
To make them better.
Make the schools better.
No. Billy, I got to keep Johnny and Susan, and I got to,
But I really care about the little colored kids. But they need to be in. They need to be in their place.
It's not for my kids.
They need to be in their place. Plessy versus Ferguson, man. It's separate but equal.
Right. But that's
not
racist.
Really equal.
But that's racist.
Yeah. That's racist that these kids don't have the resources. Really?
My kids do, though.
Is it racist that your kids do have the resources and they don't have the resources? Is it just racist that they don't have the resources?
Come on, Wrendon. Come on.
So
for all this virtue signaling.
Yeah. I wish I could go help. You can go help.
You can go help.
Wonderful. Great. Do it. And if I see that, you know what I would say about it? Because you know me, Wesley. You know what I would say? Damn, I really respect that.
If she actually did it.
You really believe that.
Yeah. They don't believe that, Wrendon.
I would say what we grew up saying in the 90s, Wesley. Props to that guy. Props to you for going. You really believed it.
This is also, Wrendon, if I had to guess to somebody that didn't watch the trial, doesn't have any idea what reasonable doubt means. And by reasonable doubt, I don't mean one of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time, Jay-Z's Reasonable.
Yes, very good.
Reasonable Doubt.
It's good.
Real quick. Reasonable Doubt is old school hip hop at its best.
It's very good.
Jay-Z went through a studio and just turned the mic. It was so raw.
So good. So good.
It's just so good. Anyway, but as I digress, right? It's like, but this is a very educated person, so they actually very educated person. They actually understand the system. They've been hijacked from the media, hijacked from the left. There's absolutely no perspective. There's actually no view of the other side. They saw BLM riot. They saw a white guy. They saw AR-15. They saw shot somebody, and they were guilty as charged.
So here's the thing that
with no nuance.
No nuance, no process.
Perspective, no nothing.
So here's what gets me about all this too, and this goes back to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Okay.
How much time we got?
Yeah. This, not enough. This,
they just keep.
Well, here's what gets me. These jury verdicts were unanimous. Okay? Are you familiar with unanimous means?
Pretty familiar with it.
Everybody on the jury had to agree.
Agreed.
Okay? Every single person on this jury that saw all of the evidence and listened to the arguments from the prosecution and from the defense, all of these people said, yeah, there's reasonable doubt.
Yes.
And then you as the president and the vice president, if you watch the whole trial and you're the president and the vice president, why would you do that? Because you got a full-time job to do. Kamala Harris might have. Because I don't see her doing anything else. So,
Wrendon,
I heard Kamala Harris has seen the whole second season of Tiger King already. I mean, she doesn't seem to be overly busy. And CNN is reporting that there's some trouble in paradise there. So look, like,
Wrendon, what was Kamala Harris's job before this?
She was in the Senate. And before that, she was Attorney General of California.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So she's a legal mind.
Yeah.
So what do you mean? You don't understand reasonable doubt? She understands it intimately. And the problem I have with her statement is now it's purely political.
Yeah. And what are you saying about the citizens of our country?
Oh,
like,
man.
Our whole system, our legal system is built on a jury of your peers. Yeah. So if you're basically saying that this is a unanimous jury of our peers, if you're saying that something is rotten to the core, that means that nobody can get a fair trial ever.
And that's not true.
This was unanimous. It's not like there were like this was unanimous.
Yeah.
And so how are you undermining the legal system by saying, wait a minute, hey, first of all, we're making it a race thing. If you're black or brown, you can't get a fair trial. Somehow you're saying that when a white guy got acquitted of something. That doesn't even make sense. Like, your whole argument is that a black person cannot get a fair trial, and your evidence of that argument isn't even about a black person being on trial. It's about a white person being on trial.
Who shot other white people.
How does that even make sense?
Yeah. So America's paying attention to this, though, Wrendon. Like, people are watching this, and it doesn't make sense. That's the point. To the point you just made. It doesn't. Dollars don't make sense right now. It's just not adding up.
So that Spice One reference. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Spice One, the best worst rapper ever.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too. And people are paying attention because it's just not adding up.
No.
That what you just said, by the way, is not rocket science. It's not brain surgery. It's just there are people that are in the middle, truly in the middle, independents in this country, and this is why Joe Biden's polling is as of this week maybe the worst we've ever seen in modern history. Actually, after this week, we'll see how the polling looks.
But it's better than Kamala Harris's.
Oh, it is by 10 points.
Yeah.
So she's the worst. She has the worst poll. She has the worst polling for a vice president in modern history.
Yeah.
Okay, and you don't get there by accident.
I think Joe Exotic could beat her in a primary right
100%. I'd vote for him. I saw a tiger, and a tiger saw a man. That's all you need to know.
You know?
Got my vote.
Yes.
Sign me up, man. But I think people are paying attention, and the people in the middle actually looked at, if you just read just a very little about the case, not just what the media told you, and read very little about, just read what we did. Just a few things you could be like, this is based on reasonable doubt. I get your point. 17-year-old walking around with an AR-15. I get how that could be unnerving under most circumstances. I think rioting and looting some of your personal property, I think it's mitigated. That's my take on it. Yeah. But I also understand how we have to be very cautious with our citizens walking around with ARs. I get
and once again, Wesley, just because I think that this is the tale of two cities. There's two sides to every story.
Yeah.
I want this to be very clear. Just because I think that he should have been acquitted, doesn't mean that I think that everything he was doing made a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay, I just want to be extremely clear. And I say this as somebody who, if my kids came to me and said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, I would say, no, that's not a good idea.
So do you know why? And I do want to say this because I do think he had the right to defend himself and to defend his family's property. I get why he was there. They weren't dispatching police, and property was being maimed and destroyed and looted and rioted. And if that's your property to protect, then I think you should stand your ground. And I totally agree with that. Yeah. And here's what I would like to tell my children someday: that's just stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just stuff.
Yeah.
And we could get stuff back, by the way.
Yeah.
We can get stuff back.
Yeah.
Be careful with what you put your life on the line for and in harm's way for. Not to which some people would say this, Wrendon, but that building and that property, that is my life.
Yeah.
That's my livelihood. That's how I feed my family.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to destroy that because it's like destroying my life.
Yeah.
It's the tale of two conversations, and I understand both.
Yeah. I do.
If my livelihood and all my belongings and 30 years of work were in that shop, nobody over my dead body is going to walk in here and destroy it.
Yeah. And Wesley, there's two
wrong.
There's two underlying things that you will not hear talked about that I think should be talked about much more with this. Because once again, the media is going to take their narratives and they're going to run with it. There's two things that I think we should be talking about a lot more in this that are going to be lost in the sauce. Okay? One of those things
We're gonna wrap on this too.
One of those things is, why weren't police dispatched?
Whoa. Why were they Wrendon?
Why did you allow this to happen in the first place?
Man.
Like as we think about conclusions that need to be met.
That's the whole point of
why were you not dispatching people, and why would a citizen feel the need to do that on his or her own?
Why?
That's the first thing.
Wrendon,
why? Like that's the role of government, is to protect citizens and their property, right?
That's right. And, and this kid felt compelled to do so because the government wasn't doing their job. And that's actually the point of the Second Amendment.
Yeah. If the government is not doing their job,
ergo. Yes.
So that's the first issue.
Yeah.
The second issue goes back to Rosenbaum, right? Mental health.
Which is something that
the first domino that fell in all this, the first guy that got shot was somebody who was off their meds and terrorizing an area.
Yeah.
But those two things are going to get lost in the sauce, and in my opinion, those are the two most important things that are happening in all of this.
That is
because our conversation is going to turn to race, gun rights,
instead of talking about what the problem was.
Instead of talking about like the things that are actually very preventable in all this.
Yeah. And what can we have done to mitigate the whole issue to start off with?
Yes. Well, to all, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I hope you've been saving up this year for that turkey.
It's gonna cost you some gold bullion.
Yeah, turkey's gonna be more expensive than Cornish hen by weight. Have a happy Turkey Day, and remember, smiles are contagious. So make someone's day.
God bless you.
God bless you.